Hi, I wanted to thank you for watching my YouTube videos and for subscribing to my YouTube channel and visiting my website at trainertroy.com. It's my mission to help you practice yoga safely. Namaste. So coming into that lunge position, try just a little bit forward without putting your knee past your toenails and back. So we bring our knee right up to the toenails and then ease out. And one more time, focusing on those legs today, bring that knee as far towards the toenails as you can without any feeling of pressure behind the knee. Now focus on that back leg hip flexor. So from your back front pocket all the way down to the knee. Feel that IT band. It connects from the outside of the hip again, and maybe you can just gently run your hand along the IT band. Not too much pressure. Then coming to face forward towards that front knee again, remind yourself to come into a deep lunge, get that back hip flexor and psoas muscle that goes through the hip to the low back to stretch. If you're having a hard time balancing, you can tuck those back toes, and if you push through the tucked toes, you'll also be stretching your plantar tendon. Most of us have tight ankles from wearing shoes and sitting a lot, so maybe untuck the toe now if you did. Reach your opposite arm from your front knee up. So in this case I have my right knee bent and my left arm overhead. And lean towards the bent knee, looking underneath the arm's underarm. And feel that stretch in your lats, down through the ribs, outside of this back leg hip. As you relax, see if that lunge will grow in intensity. We'll start to slowly ease out, but we're going to keep the legs where they are. Let's start to straighten the front leg, flexing the toes towards your face. Then begin to walk down that front leg. You might want some yoga blocks if they're nearby, or hold on to the floor. I don't recommend pushing on the leg because the knee is in a precarious situation. Now before we get too intense in those hamstrings, which can cause even front of the leg problems, point and flex. Point and flex a few times. Feel the different parts of that leg. Now keep the toes flexed, and instead of thinking about putting your head down your leg, squeeze the quads. So squeeze the thigh muscles tight. We're doing two things. We're getting an isometric contraction in the quads, which will help to release any built up tension in those thigh muscles when we release them. But by squeezing the thigh muscle, we're increasing the intensity of our hamstring stretch without having to get our low back involved. So just squeeze the thigh. 3, 2, 1. Then as you relax the thighs, see if the whole leg lets you go a little further. In and out through the nose. Each breath, tell your body to relax. Sometimes when we're doing this body work, our mind likes to think about everything else. I keep trying to remind my mind to just relax. Focus on the body, relax. Nothing else matters right now, just relax the body. The more the body relaxes, the deeper you'll go. We're going to come back to our lunge, but more at a 90 degrees. So as you bend the front leg, bring that ankle back a little more underneath the knee. We'll turn the front foot out at a 45-degree angle. to come into a different kind of lunge. So that front foot is turned out. We'll place the left hand down if it's the right knee at the front. With your foot turned out, your hip and ankle should be in a safe enough position to apply the tiniest amount of pressure to your inner thigh. You do want to watch out for your ACL. You've got to watch out for the connective area around that front knee. So as you gently push that leg to the side, make sure your knee's okay. You might even pick your big toe up off the floor. Some yogis like to add in a twist here, getting that upper body involved. But today we're just focusing on those legs if you want to stay here. Now we'll change it, but we'll keep the legs the same. So we'll just bring both hands inside the front foot. Still turned out at 45 degrees. You can go a little forward and back, minding your knee. You might stay here, or for my flexi yogis, work your back leg back another step. Come down to bent elbows. Let that front foot big toe fall off the ground. This can be too intense. So if it is, just go back one step. Now we're just a short distance from our pigeon. So as we ease out of this stretch, which can be very intense, bring your hands to frame the front foot. Come back to a lunge and just work that foot all the way across the mat, bringing your knee down behind the same side wrist. There's a lot of debate about pigeon front leg position. My recommendation is that your front knee is in a safe bend. So if that's closer for you, that's fine. Get rid of the idea of having to square it to the front of your mat. Put it in a safe position for your front knee. Now before we lay down, we're going to do a couple of other stretches. So with that front leg in a safe front knee position, do what we always tell you not to do. I'm just going to move my hand wide so you can see it more, but your hands could be at the front. Lean a little into the hip. Stop before you feel any discomfort. So we're just stretching that connective tissue theoretically. We don't want to go far enough to push into our bursa in the hip joint. We just want to feel a deeper stretch there in a safe way. Then we'll ease out of that. Now we want to try to sit in the middle of our hip so we're not falling over on the side. If your knee says, okay, I need to stop, you can always just roll over and do the number 4 stretch like this. But if your knee says it's okay, let's get into the back leg. So bend the back knee, front hand in the middle. See if you can reach back with your hand or a strap. Encourage that foot to come towards your buttocks. Start to ease out of that. We'll come back up to all fours, swing your front leg out from underneath you, and shake it off either in table or in down dog. Switch to the other leg, pick up the opposite leg. If you're following me, it's your left leg. Shake it off like there's something on your foot. Swing that leg up. If it doesn't make it all the way, grab the foot, help it up. Come down to a low lunge before coming up to your front quads. Give your body time to figure out what you're doing. And then wiggle your front leg forward to intensify the lunge. Wiggle that foot a little more forward, ease into the lunge. Hips are tricky. They hold a lot of stress and tension all day long. And a little deeper into that lunge so the knee can go up to the toenails, but we don't want it to go past. And we want a very intense back hip flexor stretch here. Tuck the back toes if you haven't already. Push into your big toe. That plantar tendon connected to the Achilles heel right up into the middle of the calf muscle. Remember, massage your calf muscles out frequently if you are using them a lot or you have leg achiness. A lot of times the calf muscle is the culprit. Top of that foot now. Reach the opposite arm from your front leg overhead. Look underneath that underarm. Maybe the lunge deepens. Slowly come out, both hands inside the front leg. Turn it out at 45 degrees. Ease into that adductor stretch, inner thigh stretch. If available, put your hand at the middle thigh. Very gently press, watching out for knee discomfort. Maybe the big toe comes off. Coming out of that, both hands inside the front foot. Foot still turned out at 45. Maybe you stay here. You might add in a small twist or explore coming down to forearms. Take your time to come out. Wiggle that foot across your mat. The knee lands behind the same side arm. So if it's your left leg at the front, you can have your knee behind your left wrist. Check out your front leg knee. Is that an acceptable position for your knee? We're going to lean gently towards that front leg knee. Hip. So you're leaning a little towards the hip, just a very soft little hello to the inside of your hip. Can't really stretch connective tissue, but we can loosen it up a little. Get out of that hip so you're not leaning. Bend your back knee, front hand in the middle. See if you can catch that foot or your pant leg even, and pull that leg a little closer towards you. Release that leg and slowly work your way out. Shake out the leg that was underneath you in table or moving into your down dog. We're getting ready to wrap up our little leg routine today. Walk your hands back to sit down on your feet. You could also sit on a yoga block if that's too intense. If your knees hurt and you have a extra yoga mat or a blanket, you can always put it behind your knees. Toes are tucked. We're stretching bottom of our feet again. Now this next one can be too intense for a lot of people's knees. If it's okay with you, sit on the heels. So you're going to untuck your toes now. Sit on the heels. Hero's posture. Now since we're focusing on stretching the legs, you can get a quad stretch by walking your hands back and leaning back. Coming out of that, we'll come up to camel. Now normally camel, I would never tell you to lean back, but since we're working on the legs, just support your low back and lean back a little bit. You want to keep that back supported, so engage your core, feel that quad stretch. Take your time to come out. Let's swing our legs around in front of us. Last time I wear 2 shirts during yoga. Whew. Bottoms of the feet come together. Cobbler's pose. Excellent for those tight hips. Walk your feet towards you and gently push down on those inner thighs. Now, if it's okay with your body to stay in that position, just keep your feet there as you start to lower yourself all the way back. And you can do Shavasana in Cobbler's pose. Let the hands rest on your inner thighs. Or return one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. Close the eyes. And instead of letting the mind wander around, keep redirecting it. It's like your employee. So the mind works for you. You're your own company, your own business. The mind is your top officer. So you tell it what job to do. Tell that mind to focus on the body, the results of your actions. I always encourage you to stay there in Shavasana as absolutely long as you can, focusing back again on that body. I hope I've helped you with your legs today and your whole body and mind. Remember to stay safe and active. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We ask for peace in the world, our neighborhoods, and our own hearts. Namaste.